Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology, debunking mythology. Sat means truth, logos means a study of science, Sattology means a science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means science of fake lie imagination or study of fake lie imagination. Today I have a very, very special guest, and all of you read about it. And one of my next books is coming out on that completely in detail about meditation. 108 meditations is coming out. Without delay, let us welcome Shri Atul Vyas.
Very good morning, all of you.
Atul Vyas, I love the way he introduced me for the first time. It just stuck in my mind. The yoga scientist. And many of his articles are published in many, many forums. And I will request him one day to write for us on everydaychan.com. That is a very popular portal. So would like to publish your articles there on only yoga and meditation.
Right, I will.
So when we come to yoga, there's a general misconception. Yoga means like uh, like Americans. We take everything to extreme. So there is a goat yoga now, where the goat is walking on our backs, and people are trying to do asana. And now we also have the cow yoga, which is actually good, where you go and meet a cow and embrace a cow. But the traditional forms, if you tell them, they would like to, it becomes very boring for them because the whole Hollywood culture has destroyed the regular humanistic lifestyle. Before we start off on that topic, I would like to comment. I would you say something on that.
Will you please repeat your question? Sorry, I didn't hear it properly.
I'm saying they keep changing everything, and like Hollywoodistic lifestyles, and the dialogue sequence of Hollywood movies or Netflix nowadays, and all the shows, very confused, uh, a very confused approach to yoga. Like yoga, men think that yoga is only for women, and the mental issues in men are even higher than women nowadays. And so before I start off, you need to comment on that. What do you think?
People have, people actually, have no knowledge about the real yoga and what it is and what it can do and uh, uh, what it is made for. So, number one. And number two is that yoga is something, uh, for how I put it, developing your brain power, developing your full potential of your brain actually is the main aim of yoga. And whatever techniques, whether it is asana, whether it is pranayama, whether it is following yama, niyama, pratyahara, or dhyan, dhara, samadhi, they are all the tools of, you know, realizing and developing your true potential, which is in the form of your brain. Sahasradhara this is supposed to be a inverted lotus like this, you know, with a stem running back in your spine. And through the techniques, the the lotus gets, you can say, water and sun or nourishment, and through the nourishment it turns, it blossoms, like this. And when it blossoms, it is called thousand petal lotus. And that does symbolically means that your true potential of the brain is developed. So the main aim of yoga, whether it is uh, asana, pranayama, or whatever techniques the West is using, is directly or indirectly developing your this power. To vast extent depends on your efforts and depend on your approach and depends on your objective you are doing it for. Aditya ji.
So when we talk about Kundalini Yoga, so we have to divide yoga. We already know what it means to reconnect ourselves. But Kundalini, where is the word Kundalini originate from?
Kundal means It originated from Sanskrit word kunda. Kunda means a pit. Kund. We use it for yagyas, kund, small pit or deep pit, you can call it. Small in the radius or boundaries, and deep, what I mean, in in the depth, is called kunda. And Kundalini means power, serpent power. So that power, which is the most powerful energy of the mother nature, is there in everybody's body. That is called serpent power, and its location is at the base of the spine. And that power, the aim of all yoga, whatever practice you do, is to raise this energy so that it blossoms your lotus, inverted lotus in the Sahasradhara. So whether you are aware of it, of this happening, or whether you are doing it for it, or whether you are doing your yoga for any objective or fitness, directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, you are uh, uh, some way dealing with the Kundalini power in one way or the another. Because whatever is happening in the body, whatever energy we are seeing in us and out of us and through us, is a reflection of the Kundalini lying at the base of our spine. It is like that, Aditya ji.
Very clear description, because people, they loosely drop this word kundalini, and people need to understand what is the origin of the word. And they use at the base of the spine. And so we all know spine is the, human beings have the strongest spine, amongst all mammals, in terms of the weight and the body structure, because that's how you are able to stand on 2 feet, so it has to be very strong. And strength doesn't mean that you can break with hammer, anything can break with a hammer, but it is strong because it's straight. So what is the role of kundalini yoga now, combining with yoga, now what it actually means now, kundalini yoga?
As per West, I mean, the concept is very popular in the West now, and it was made popular by Yogi Bhajan, and now by some Sikh ladies, Khalsa, some I mean, I don't, some Khalsa. What they do is, they are using asana with strong breathing practices, which activates the sympathetic nervous system. So you get very energetic. And sometimes it is, if not done with a controlled thing, it can be harmful. So this is the concept of the West. Breathing with the asanas or movement is their idea of Kundalini yoga, which is not correct. Kundalini is a serpent power at the base of the spine. It is in the form of serpent, actually. And before we understand Kundalini, I will explain it is symbolic that that energy is lying dormant at the base like a serpent, and it has got 3.5 coils, 3.5 coils at the base of the spine, with its head just below the one psychic channel, Nadi, Sushumna Nadi, which is the central channel, and the adjoining two channels around Sushumna Nadi is Ida and Pingala. So this Kundalini, when it rises through some practices through the central channel, then it can reach to the Sahasradhar, last chakra of our head, developing our full potential. And on the way up, it crosses many chakras we discussed earlier, and they are the different levels of consciousness or energy level, and having they bestow you with certain psychic powers every chakra, and ultimately it goes up to the head and makes you mini god as per yogic philosophy. And when it if it is not awakened properly, and if it enters the side channels, which is called ida or pingla nadi, then it does reach it goes up, but then it has got different connotations and different ramifications, unlike the sushmana nadi. So this is all about kundalini. The three and a half coil of kundalini signifies, uh, onkar, om. Om, it signifies, om. Om has got three vowels, a, u, ma, and then ankar, mankar, om, mam, that half alankar. So that makes the 3.5. So kundalini represents om. It also represents three gunas, sat, raj, and tam, three mental states, jagra, sushupti, and sushupti and swapna avastha, and also in between turyatiyat avastha, half in between these states. Also, it represents sat, raj, and tam states. So it is basically a symbol of different all the our characteristics of a human being. You can which makes our personality. So it is basically all the not only yogis with awakened kundalinis are exceptional, but yogis who have arisen, who has awakened the kundalini and reached to the top through the sushmana nadi central channel are really mini god. Other people who have awakened kundalini through different means, consciously or unconsciously, it can be awakened through many different ways. One of them is hatha yoga, one of them is bhakti yoga, karma yoga, mantra yoga, shakti path, so many different. So they become super genius like Einstein, or they are become super achievers. And even through following yama niyamas, you can awaken your kundalini. Basically, kundalini is awakened by strengthening and making your prana, the vital force, powerful enough in the body by various yogic techniques of yama, niyama, pranayama, bhakti, kirtan, mantra, whatever means you adopt, and then taking the prana at the base of the spine, and with that force tapping that energy, so that it is awakened and it moves. And before we take the prana to tap the kundalini, it is very much advisable that your body is well prepared for awakening this energy. What your your body through hatha yoga, through asana pranayama, is made very strong. Your muladhara, the base chakra, has to be very strong, because the foundation has to be strong. Because when the kundalini rises, this is the muladhara chakra should be strong enough to sustain its force going up. So uh, these all techniques makes kundalini, the process of awakening the kundalini I have explained in very brief to you, Aditya ji.
When we talk about you said the spine, the base, the Muladhara chakra has to be very strong. And the generally, the if you look at the lifestyle of Americans and people who copy American lifestyle with the kind of food they eat, now can they even practice it, Kundalini yoga?
Well, you have raised a very important question. Actually, food diet is very critically important in Kundalini yoga, because if you are following a real Kundalini yoga, then you are, while you do a Kundalini yoga, what happens is that your metabolism is uh, is greatly reduced. So you have to eat very digestible food, especially even the boiled food. No masalas, no oil, no buttermilk, no butter oil, no bread, nothing. Very easily digestible food if you are practicing Kundalini Yoga. Mind you, this number one. And even Kundalini can be awakened through certain herbs and diet. This is uh, this is the aspect which I am telling you. So diet is very critically, I repeat, critically important, because diet should not be only light, but it should be full of element we call sattva element. Sattva means pure element, sattva, rajas and tam. So diet which is sattvic in nature should be eaten so that you develop sattva guna. I mean, basically you have to purify your body through different means, and food is one of them. And while you are practicing Kundalini Yoga, for its easy operation, you should make your body very very strong, so that your energy is not spent in digestion or other thinking and other uh, wasteful expenditure of the physical or mental or nervous energy. Aditi ji.
That is you hit the we hit the nail here, because you can do all kinds of talks on yoga and other things, but you don't change the diet. What is the need, what is the point in that? Because it is a most important thing in any yoga control lifestyle. In the yoga, in the Kundalini Yoga, there is a in the Yoga Sutra, there is also mention of Kundalini Yoga, like a very brief mention, half shloka is there. Now, why Patanjali did not touch upon Kundalini Yoga in Yoga Sutra?
No, Patanjali did mention about Kundalini Yoga. He did mention it is there in the Yajurveda. It is there in Patanjali. Patanjali has mentioned about it. It is there in Gharand Samhita. It is there in Hatha Yoga Pradipika. It is there in Kundalini Upanishada. So, I mean, most of the, even Yoga Vasishta is a detailed explanation of Kundalini, which was explained to Lakshmanji. And because of he mastered the Kundalini Yoga, Lakshmanji did not sleep at all for 12 years. There are many gods like Hanumanji, monkey god, and Lakshmanji and Bhagwan Rama. They don't need sleep. I mean, sleep everybody needs, but Kundalini, through Kundalini Yoga, you can win over your sleep. And Lakshmanji did it. And therefore, he guarded Lord Rama 12 long years, but he did not sleep a wink. It is because of it is mentioned in the Yoga Vashishta of Ramayana also. So, Kundalini is there. Because to me, at least I believe, Kundalini Yoga is the base of yoga philosophy. Therefore, Lord Krishna has said, Yoga samam balam nasti. There is no force in the world equal to yoga. No power in the world equal to yoga. Yoga samam balam nasti. Ab how you translate bal in English, power, force, strength, whatever. I mean, it's up to you.
There is no English equivalence of the word tej. There's all
Of
other
course,
words.
no.
There's no Indian equivalence of the word tej. Also in yoga, also there is no equivalence in English language of yoga word itself. So
Of course, and even there is no equivalent to the word of pratibha. They
pratibha.
call it genius. They call it genius, but pratibha is much more than genius.
That's right. Like whenever I read because of when I'm writing and researching, I do not find, I have always confused when they say tej, Surya tej, like so it is also said by Dhaume Rishi to Yudhishthir, the Surya takes away the tej of people during the day and sends it back as rains. So whatever is taking when is going, and when is going south through then he gives it back. So we don't get to see all these words in English language, and that's why I
No, now they've started incorporating tejas, ojas. Now because of the popularity of Ayurveda. Now, I mean, they are frequently used as Tejas, Tejas, and Ojas, and something like that.
And I'll put an appeal to anyone from the US government who is watching this to make yoga as a integral curriculum of the American course studies. Proper yoga, not just yoga. Normally, what they do very cleverly is American textbooks. They take up the Indian ideas from Gita and everywhere else, and they Christianize it before they put in the course curriculum. So anyone who reads it will automatically be sympathetic to them because for them religion is more important than anything. Most of the global audience who's is watching that the
Even I will interrupt you. Even in Bible, there is a clear mention of Kundalini Yoga. When it is said that there is a golden path, you know, I can, I mean, I don't remember the verse of that, but I can send you the verse. It, it refers to Kundalini Yoga. So, I believe that every religion in the world, Kundalini, if you have attained enlightenment like Christ or Muhammad, or if you are something very supernatural human being or very genius, there has to be a, awakened Kundalini. To what level depends. Even Muhammad is said to have meditated in. They are named as Saras or Sahas caves in Saudi Arabia. So without meditation, Kundalini, you can't be enlightened and have such a huge religion like Islam or Christianity. So that's the point. So it is there in the even Bible also.
I mean, Bible is a hodgepodge. If you look at that, it has collected from Buddhist references,
Right.
from Persian
Agree.
references. You know,
No, I'm not going to the origin, but I'm saying they even have incorporated because without that, no religion is complete.
and also they followed the church philosophy of inculturation. So, take up wherever they went and conquered, they had to, by law, take up those local practices so that people can convert to their faith. Because conversion means power for them, and that's how it happened. So, coming back to the topic of yoga, then Kundalini Yoga. Now, in what aspects does Kundalini Yoga help a person, like mental, physical, and spiritual, or uh, yoga level? Yoga is spiritual. What ways it does it help you?
It helps in all aspects of human life. All aspects of human life. It is mental, physical, emotional, social, financial, health. You name it and it does help. Because it's therefore yoga is a holistic science because of Kundalini. Basically, as Max Planck has said while he was receiving the Prize, that there is no matter, everything is energy. So Kundalini is energy. So basically, it's a manipulation and uh, guiding your energy. Like electricity is energy. So when it passes through the light, it reflects as light. It exhibits, manifests itself as light. When it is passed through the different in a microwave oven, it is used for making things hot and like that. So energy is the same, but it is used. So when you are raising your energy level, then it is manifesting. It manifests in all aspects of your life, whether mental or it is physical or riches or money, everything. So that's a very wonderful aspect of of yoga and Kundalini. Why yoga? Through yoga, good health is manifested. Uh, Social things are manifested. It is all because of Kundalini. In some way or the other, this energy is uh, uh, arisen in your body or in your mental level, so you become supernatural, or you will become very accomplished, or you know all different faculties of your life, of your brain are because of Kundalini Yoga. Aditya.
So one of the so we covered the diet, we covered how it benefits, and the now many of our viewers are students and young youth, and mostly the general impression we've already spoken about it, but I'll just focus on Kundalini Yoga also. In from this perspective, they when they go out and they are studying hard, they think that only going to gym is an exercise, and yoga is not an exercise, especially like Kundalini Yoga, which are much more specialized, where it is not an exercise, it's not physical strain to the body, otherwise to remove stress. What do you have to say to those people who have that kind of views on Kundalini Yoga?
Well, I mean, proof, as I will repeat, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. They must experience Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is one form of very specialized yoga in which, in all forms of yoga, we are being told that you have to control your mind, you have to work with your mind, you have to discipline your mind. So there is always a fight between you and the mind. But in Kriya Yoga, through which uh, you can awaken your Kundalini without any side effects and without any what I say some dangers, is Kriya Yoga. In Kriya Yoga, what you are expected to do, there are basically many Kriya there in the Kriya Yoga, but there are 20 practices which they should practice at least for a month, and out of which 9 practices are with open eyes and 11 practices are with closed eyes. They are not very difficult practices. So my recommendation to them would be that you try 20 practices of Kriya Yoga and then compare with the benefits of the gym, and then they will realize what is good and what is bad. Because unless and until you experience something, dismissing just by thinking that it is not physical will be not right thing to do as per logic. Aditya ji.
So when we talk about the essential practice in Kundalini Yoga, so how people can practice, like what are the steps to do Kundalini Yoga, if you can briefly explain. I know it's a detailed one, people need personal coaching, but
No, very well said. But I said they are basically with different. There are more than 10. 10 path or 20 paths. But I will briefly mention mantra yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga, shakti path, kriya yoga, pranayamas. They are all practices which we can help you to awaken your Kundalini serpent power. So doing them with discipline and regularity, and with yoga, there are certain wonderful yogic exercises to awakening the chakras. You can raise your Kundalini. There are certain very specific exercises, mental, physical. There are mudras, pranayam, asanas, through which you can awake Kundalini. But before that, you have to practice discipline. You have to purify your body through hatha yoga and pranayama. There is a special sequence for that. You have to purify your body through diet, and the specific diet uh, 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 before you start doing these exercises for Kundalini Yoga. And then you start these very simple exercises like Trataka. You like focusing on a fixed point. There are different mudras, Shambhavi mudra, Nabhyasan, Udyan Bandh, Mool Bandh. Mool Bandh is very important. There are 3 different Mool Bandhas. I mean, part of the Mool Bandhas is, one is Rajoli Mudra, when you pull your genitals and not your anus. One is Ashwani Mudra, where like a horse, you pull in your anus and you expand it. If you ever seen horse, from where does it get so much power. It eats grass. It doesn't eat. It's a not a non-vegetarian animal, but it is one one most powerful animal, and therefore we have named the horsepower in the name of horse. So how does it? From where does it gain the this power? Through Ashwani Mudra. So there are many techniques which you follow in a sequence. Then you realize the power of Kundalini Yoga. It's not very complicated thing, but it is you can complement it with your gym going. And trust me, in gym you spend your vital force or prana shakti. Mind you, in yoga you gain prana shakti or vital force. So there is a big difference in what is the this is the big underlying difference between physical gymming and yoga. In yoga you gain prana, vital force, energy, and in gym you spend your vital force, because as per yogic philosophy, life of a person is does not depend on years, or not on the chronological years time, but every individual as per yogic philosophy is given certain number of breaths. It is just like certain fixed amount of money is given to you. Now it depends on you how you spend. If you spend wisely and with restraint and discipline, the money lasts longer. Similarly, if you spend your breaths wisely, then you live longer. Simple formula for longevity. And if you spend them fast, your life gets shorter. It is all humbug that it is aerobic is good for heart. Trust me, all gymming is good for younger people. Anybody doing gym more than 30 years old, you will find their cheeks are sunken, their eyes are like that, and their body does not look beautiful, or they lose ojas and tejas because they reduce prana shakti, makes them look weird. You can check it out with everyone. They may be thin and fine, but this is a difference between gymming and Kundalini Yoga. Aditi.
No, but the Hollywood, what Hollywood promotes, like for example, the most of the Christians, they accuse Hindus of worshipping Devata, and but their Devatas are Hollywood stars. So, so they follow in that like they, instead of having a natural face cut, they get into the artificial face cut where the flesh reduces. You are exactly right. They lose the radiance on the face and they look emaciated completely. Like
Example of Michael Jackson is before you, sir. I, did- I,
exactly.
did not, I need not to say anything. He went so early.
And
Had he
90,
not been,
yes, go ahead. Yes, please.
had he not changed his, color, he would have been easily with us, doing wonderful job. So, so this is a very dangerous thing to do. This Botox and all that.
The social
One,
pressures are so high to just look good, like the presentable, and the vitality is lost. And another thing which is lost is the depression is a very byproduct of those kind of lifestyles, because you are just living to show yourself on Instagram, and people do not know that all the images people put on the social media are not real. Like my multiple times experiences that now I have made it a rule, what they show themselves on social media, I may imagine exactly opposite of that, so that we actually have a realistic expectation, or we might have exceed our expectations sometimes.
America, basically, American society is 90% projection and 10% reality. It is 90% perception and 10% reality. So, so they are obsessed with the perception. So accordingly they behave, but one should be very natural. If you are natural with yourself, with others, you are very comfortable and you are at peace with yourself. If you are uncomfortable, your body is uncomfortable. Actually, Human body is basically a conglomerate. It's not one entity. It is like billions of one-celled organism. It's a conglomerate of billions of one-celled organism actually, cells, and they are complete independent units like one animal. You got a one-celled animal called amoeba and all that. But they live together and they love peace and harmony the best. If you are full of enemy and artificiality and competition, they revolt, and all the diseases like cancer and all kind of diseases, because your cells are agitated because of all these nonsense things one does it, not being natural, uh, agitates your cells, and they result in the form of various diseases. Trust me, if you can create peace and stillness in yourself and pass it on to your cell, which is the disease part of your body, you will be cured immediately. That's a, and therefore I think this culture is promoting and spreading diseases more than curing them. Aditi.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And more Americans are now going towards a yoga lifestyle, and they're politically neutral and religiously agnostic because they believe in yoga, and therefore they're branded as agnostics. But I would say they are the most wise people in the US society, and almost 60 million Americans practice it, and they are not politically active. That is not good for politicians, but it's a good thing. Now, coming to the lifestyle changes, which a yoga must, otherwise what's the point in doing yoga? Because if you do not work on the lifestyle changes, which means disconnecting from propagandas by the corporates when they're selling, and you correctly absolutely mentioned that Botox is the number one sales in the US now, and it is increasing and it's creating cancer amongst many people. And and also the cancer is also a major disease here because of the food that they have. So how can Kundalini Yoga fight with all these anomalies we have?
As I mentioned, in Kriya Yoga, it is said that you should not be bothered what your mind or what is your lifestyle. This is a wonderful aspect of Kriya Yoga. I mean, of course, a part of yoga, that it says you do kriyas, you do certain practices. Keep on doing practices. Don't be bothered by your lifestyle, your diet, your what blah blah blah. No need for any other pretensions, and you will gradually you will change without any effort, and that is the real essence of the yoga, Aditi. And one can, I mean, I can, when I say that I've experienced it, that's why I'm telling you, Aditi. So this is lifestyle changes will automatically happen. Good lifestyle changes will you will acquire spontaneously, naturally, without any force. That's the beauty. But you have to do kriyas or certain practices of kriya yoga, which are there enlisted. But there are 20 identified. We have identified 20 practices one should do daily. Nothing else. I mean, no prohibition of drinking or changing habits or do's and don'ts. Nothing. Just do your practices or just do yoga. See your life changes, and you will adopt a very natural and really beneficial lifestyle for you, Aditi.
Atulji, thank you so much because you called a new term yoga scientist. And believe me, anyone can be a scientist with a logical brain and empirical thought process. You don't have to be get certified by an American college or American university to be called a scientist, because science is experiential, and the scholarly consensus in the campuses actually destroy the scientific acumen of people. Because who is a scholar? And most of the scholars today are politicians nowadays. So thank you so much, Atulji, and thank you.
I will conclude. My mother told me one very beautiful thing. She told me, let spirituality be our base and science our outlook.
That's
So, from that angle, I am a scientist because I view everything from the view of science, how and why and when and where and if it works. So I don't believe. I mean, this is being told in yoga. This asana will benefit this unless unless and until I try it or we know the reason how and why. Because as Buddha has said, there is no cause without effect and there is no effect without a cause. So that's the basis of my scientific yoga, being a scientist, yoga scientist, Aditya ji.
no, you
And
are
thank you
absolutely
very
right.
much.
Absolutely right, because yogi is naturally a scientist because he's experiencing. Science is all about experience. Pratyaksh praman, anuman praman, shabd praman.
That and one more wonderful thing is with this: you are an experimenter. You are a scientist. You are the doer. You are experimenting. You are watching. You are doing an experiment. You are doing experiment with your mind, with your body. At the same time, you are observing it. You are observing your own experiment and you are doing these things your own self. So you are a scientist and you are an object and you are a subject both.
That's
This is the most wonderful, unique aspect of yoga, Aditya.
Thank you so much, Atul Vyas ji, and thank you so much for actually grateful to your mother, who is the mother of yogis, and thank you all the viewers who are watching. So do practice it. Join our Sattology clubs in the campuses where you can practice it. And if you don't find one, send a note to us, and we'll help you connect with them. And also, people who are watching outside this United States, I would urge you to set up Sattology clubs in your campuses and let us know your feedback. Namaste and thank you.
Very good morning. Have a great day. Thank you, Aditya ji, and all the viewers and all the uh, show maker of the show. Thank you.